When I got elected to Congress, the first thing I did, this was in 2007, was make this office carbon neutral. And we became the first office in Congress to do so. And in the process of that, there were some very simple things to do. I mean, we had an energy audit done. Vermont has an energy efficiency office, and we invited them to come down, audit my office here, audit my office in Vermont. And they made specific recommendations, and they're small things, but as you were saying, they add up. Yeah. We did efficient light bulbs. We enacted recycling and composting programs. For my transportation back in Vermont, we leased a hybrid vehicle. And then we purchased offsets as well. And the impact of that for just doing it in our office was an energy savings of 9,000 kilowatt hours. We diverted 4,900 pounds of waste from the landfill. We reduced carbon emissions by 21,145 pounds. And we saved $2,040. Now that sounds small when you hear the numbers that we throw around in this building, but this is a small office, and you compound that and you change behaviors year in and year out, and it's very meaningful. Many other members of Congress are doing it. Of course, the Speaker took up this cause with the greening of the Capitol. And today, you're here to talk about next steps. But incidentally, there was a huge difference in what I had to pay for carbon offsets for the energy consumption here versus in Vermont. And in here at that time, when I was elected, we had coal as the basic producer of electricity. Whereas in Vermont, we have hydronuclear and alternative energy. So you really saw the difference just in what the cost to me was for the carbon offset, depending on the source of power. But today we're here to talk about the next steps in the efforts to green for the greening of the Capitol. And we are announcing the energy savings performance contract that the architect of the Capitol is in charge of implementing. And this is like practical. And I know, a lot of times around here we're against doing things that work and are simple and straightforward. But we're overcoming that resistance in this case. What that will allow us to do is contract with Noresco, a private company, that will undertake the changes that will save us energy. They will do the upfront cost so that there'll be no out-of-pocket to the taxpayer, and Noresco will earn its money on the basis of how much savings they are able to achieve with the investments that are made here. Mm-hmm. So and I'm going to have Mr. Ayers talk about that, and then we'll get on to the next phase of this. Okay?
Good. Well, an energy savings performance contract is a unique vehicle that's been in place for a couple of years through the Department of Energy, and it does allow private companies to partner with the federal sector to make investments in facilities when appropriated dollars may not necessarily be available to do that. So it's really a great public-private partnership for us to undertake, and it's really here in the House and across the Capitol campus. It's the biggest investment we are making to date in energy conservation and sustainability. So here in the House, the energy savings performance contractor, Noresco, is replacing lights throughout all of the House office buildings. You can see some that have just been replaced here. We're using some daylight harvesting technology in the corridors here in this building, where natural light comes in through the windows, and there are sensors that sense the amount of natural light and dim the lights in the hallway when there's sufficient light coming through the windows. A great new technology. We're also upgrading all of our mechanical systems from pneumatically controlled, which is ancient technology, quite frankly, to direct digital controls, and swapping out using, instead of constant volume air systems, we're going to variable air volume systems and variable frequency drives. And we even just took the bathroom tour. And you might think that a toilet that used to be 3.5 gallons per flush, and of course the current standard and these toilets that we're putting in through this contract are 1.6 gallon That adds up to over 20 million gallons a year here in the house office buildings, just for those restroom upgrades. You add on top of that the upgrades that Noresco is doing for us in our humidification systems in our mechanical units, which is another 16.5 million gallons of water a year. That's significant savings, some 35, 36 million gallons of water a year. So these are practical things, but they really add up.
Well, they do. Just before we turn it over to Bob, what I understand is that, you know, these lights are the tip of the iceberg. We're going to, after this is done, reduce energy consumption overall by 23%. We're going to reduce water use by 32%. And we're going to save taxpayers $3.3 million annually. You know, now we're getting into the realm of real money. And that's just by doing these things. And it's about $34 million is the budget in order to implement these types of changes throughout the complex. No taxpayer dollar needs to be used. Noresco is going to put that money up. They're going to make the improvements, and then we're going to share in the savings. So we're extremely excited about this approach and see it as paying real dividends all around. But we also have the greening of the capital program that has been underway with the great work of the Speaker and the CAO officer, Dan Beard, who undertook this when he, I think, was given the charge by Speaker Pelosi. And that's all about changing our behavior as well as in having us do efficiency improvements. We've got to change our behavior some. And Bob Lane is here, and he's leading the greening of the capital program. And with his help and others, we've just done some, again, small things but meaningful things. We're using smart power strips. We've got a water filtration system to replace bottled water. And we've got motion sensor lights. And again, over and over again, repetition saves big bucks. So, Bob, you want to talk a little bit about what you've been able to get done?
Well, Congressman, I want to thank you first for inviting me to be part of this, and Dan sends his regrets that he can't be here. I'd like to tell you folks about Congressman Welch is one of our greening heroes around here, because he has taken the initiative to green his office, and he leaves no carbon footprint behind because he's carbon neutral and has made it his business to, as he thinks about his daily life and the life of his staff, he's made it his business to do that. Let me commend you on that, Congressman, and that's good leadership on our part. Secondly, a word to Stephen Ayers. I want to compliment you, Stephen, for you've got such a tremendous staff. We work so closely with the AOC on the Greening Capital Program. Bill Weidemeyer is the superintendent of the House, and this is a behind the scenes. You have this team of people that are focused every day on greening the Capitol, saving energy, and making this place a leadership, a leader in the greening and energy sustainability. If you're looking for visible evidence that the greening of the House of Representatives is not only good for the environment, but also good business, this energy savings contract is that evidence. It's a public-private partnership, as you already mentioned, and therefore appropriated dollars are not being spent to make this happen. This $34 million of upgrades will be repaid by the savings that are produced. And that's the wonderful thing about it. It's a new plateau, I would call it, a new plateau of efficient management of our house office buildings, and will result in long-term energy savings of millions of dollars annually. And there's also, it's evidence of the fast pace and the comprehensive nature of our greening and energy savings program here at the House of Representatives.